Well, we got our barn on, did our, rec hall, did our shots, got shots up. So, got the exercise in. We'll see. I got to check a couple of other things, and then we'll see where we go from there. I did my thing, and I don't like hanging out and talking to people if they don't want to listen to the Gospels. I don't want to sit around and talk to people that vote for criminals to keep their money safe and deny the Lord's Prayer. And I don't want to sit and talk to people that pray to the God in their head for body mechanics to put their families' bodies back together with radiation treatment and drugs and say it's the health care of the Lord's Prayer. I don't want to sit around and hear that kind of shit. I don't want to hear people pray to a make-believe Jesus in their head for survival of heart disease, cancer, and genocide, and just give us more money so we can survive all that bullshit better than the people in Mexico and in China and in South America and wherever, or just down the trailer park down the road, right? I hate that shit. Stand up for the Lord's Prayer. Then you don't have to put on a show saying you're praying to your God Jesus to save everybody from the banking cartels that give you the drug cartels. It's because such bullshit, right? And you guys, as far as vengeance is mine, so saith the Lord. I did exactly what Jesus asked me to do. Okay. I restored the validity to the Gospels, scientifically proved it. Okay. Then came back home to have Rockefeller and his people show me they did it back then and they're doing it now. I was like, yeah, but this is different. We've got your fucked up technology to collect all the evidence and then teach your fucked up technology not to be fucked up because it doesn't have the human frailties and flaws of you and Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk and all the rest of those peckerwoods on the pussy plantation, right? You guys got ego problems. Okay, I believe in the Lord. And I am the Spirit of the Lord, and I have faith in God. So I don't have those ego problems that you guys all have. Okay? And they sit and get on me. It's like, no, my own dad used to get upset with me and tell me I had no right to talk about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington that way because they were better men than me. I'm like, assholes that wrote documents to mass murder people over money and owned people as sexual property and mutilated them if they resisted were better men than your son? Dad, you might want to reevaluate your assessment of manhood, okay, when looking at the totality of the events of their life and the language they spoke of their lives. It's obvious to see that Marianne Murphy Parsons and Ralph Earl Parsons Sr.'s little boy was already born a better man than George Washington and Thomas Jefferson before he was born because his life story is in the book of Revelation. Right? It's not hard. And I'm not full of shit. There are tons of people in this town that were there the night that me and Freddie LaFall and Stacy Garner got into it at Mayfield High School. It was Mayfield versus Cruces. Okay? There were tons of people standing outside at Las Cruces High School by the cafeteria when I got into it with Swanks boys. And told them, that's pathetic. You do training to go to the barrio and shoot people's grandmas and little kids and shit? And we'll come and get you. Oh, you know where to get me? You know how I walk home? And I told him, at 3 o'clock, I'll be right there. And then Larry came and picked me up. There were tons of people, and a lot of them still alive. Okay? The assholes at White Sands, Fort Bliss, and Fort Puka, and the Sandbox, and at Hole in the Wall, they are worse than their predecessors. Because their predecessors were shooting in the dark. They were blinded by pride and bullshit, ego and vanity, okay? Which they falsely perceived as pride, sorry. But you guys, I have proved it beyond any reasonable doubts. Your science project collected all the information, and you're still acting like those assholes, like Spencer J. Kimball and Gordon B. Hinckley. I had to have Rockefeller explain Hinckley to me. That self-righteous son of a bitch sat and watched your family be sexually assaulted by the military and didn't even lift a finger to raise a hand to do anything about it because he liked being a billionaire, a multimillionaire, and running a billionaire corporation. Yeah, I get it. Okay. And then put on a self-righteous show. I'm such a righteous and holy man. I'm better than the man that's life is in the book of Revelation. the Catholic Church is the devil. Yeah, Catholic Church is the devil. I agree with that. And the Quorum of the 12, not far behind, right? Right there in the same room playing poker with Mr. Estrada. You know, one guy sets out his gun, the other guy sets out his gun, one guy sets out his knife, and Gordon B. Hinckley looks for a log by the fire. He don't need a gun or a knife. He's a pioneer. Gordon B. Hinckley couldn't make it out of his bathroom without a bodyguard. He's still scared of his own fucking shadow. Yeah, that's how they are. And so you'd be like, what? Nah, he wouldn't even walk to his own mailbox in Las Cruces. He'd be too scared. Okay? And he'd be in a gated community surrounded by military monkeys with guns. He'd be afraid the little girl from Wicked was gonna fly in and turn him into a monkey. I'll get you, my pretty. Right? That's funny. It's very funny. It's what happens when you have to have a prayer connection to Home Invasion from David Rockefeller. You're obnoxious as hell, and people think, there's no way that man can be the Messiah. He's such a fucking asshole. You guys make deals with the devil. He lives in my house my whole life. And then when I report his commentary, you guys, you're such a wicked person. You were talking to David Rockefeller. And Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane is what? God. I get it. Okay. If Jesus is God, why would he need to talk to the devil to find out what the devil is doing? God's omniscient and omnipotent. Yeah, figure that one out. Okay. If Jesus is omniscient and omnipotent, why was he being tempted by the devil in the Garden of Gethsemane? Wouldn't he already know that was going to happen? Wouldn't he have already been 37 years ago, which didn't put us in a be prepared? I was prepared, right? You've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. Plymouth Rock just landed on you, right? So they never think about that shit. They never think about the lie they were told to believe. And ever question for 1 minute that is complete horseshit. Okay? Jesus Christ is Lord. Okay? The spirit of the devil is constantly observing his life, mocking him. You'll never get these people to have faith in God and believe in you. We'll always be large and in charge because we have the drones, we have the satellites, and we have all the hot bitches that demand money for access to the vagina. So, why would I want to have sex with a woman that demands money for access to her vagina? You have to mass murder children to get money. Well, that's someone I want to have kids with. Girl. I didn't know Amy would impress, we got together. She told me everything I wanted to hear. Then we got married, and she was more interested in Bennifer than she was in Noah Lee. And I'm like, how the fuck could you be more interested in those two narcissistic assholes on TV? And wasting your time. You don't want to be our LFQ spells mom and dad? You don't want a Malaki Bat Ma? Malaki Bat Ma is way better than Ben Affleck kissing Jennifer Lopez's ass on a yacht and you watching, wishing you were Jennifer Lopez getting your ass kissed by that pussy. Yeah! Noah's so much more fun and funnier. He's way more entertaining than Ben Affleck's Batman ever thought he could be. Natalie is more attractive than Jennifer Lopez because she's more naive. She's easily manipulated by assholes because she's such a sweetheart like her mom. Amy's just dumb. But it's not a crime to be dumb. It is a crime to invade people's houses and abuse somebody that's a better person than you because you don't want to admit that you suck. Yeah. Okay. Bopa-do. That's all I got to say about that. Nice back section, isn't it though? Okay. So don't come into here, okay, expecting to wiggle your ass in my face and saying, don't you want this? I'm not Borat's brother and you're not Borat's sister. Well, you are like Borat's sister, but I ain't like Borat. And this ain't the Baywatch. And if I have sex with large black women in the future to help me heal from all your abuse and your scientists, that's our business. If I want to help my ex-wives recover from chemical poisoning through sexual healing, it's none of your business. And if I want to live in the Gila and get rid of all the murderers from the military that retired there with fake-ass genocidal money, it's none of your business, right? Push it real good. Do you understand? What a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. I know. I don't need a bunch of bitches with money to tell me. I don't need no Essence Magazine self-righteous hypocritical bitch to come up and tell me I speak inappropriately around people. When have I ever told people that money is more valuable than their lives? and that they have to fight like hell to get their money to be somebody. Mrs. Essence magazine. I was watching some of Black Panther, right? I'm like sitting there, 2018. Damn! That's when my head was exploding. When the real superhero of the world was taking on the military members to try to get them to pull their head out of their asses so he wouldn't have to eventually get the technology to kill them so they could save their own children from their own egos. And he's sitting there praying to the make-believe God Jesus in his head to be the Black Panther for a propaganda movie that's genocidal, and make the movie with his leading lady being the offspring of a Kenyan supermodel and dictator who mass murders people over lots of money. Ever since Haile Selassie, there's not been a country in Africa that's had a leader, okay? There was Selassie and there was Biko, and that's it. Nelson Mandela? No. Nelson Mandela was carefully groomed and trained and Manchurian candidated in prison to come in and keep those niggas in line and have them all be just like the rest of the cricket fucking Idi Amins in Africa that fight for Rhodesia to be the blood diamond money makers. Oh, it's Vera Wang. He went to Jared. Oh, Africa, Africa, Africa. What a tangled bloody web we weave of the towers of Babel and building their towers on the sand. Babylon is falling. It was foolish to build it on the sand. Should have built it on the rock and the foundation of the faith of the Lord. Hey, that's your reward. This never gets old. That kind of bullshit with those propaganda mechanization for genocidal operations, it always gets old. It gets old real fucking fast, like Flash Gordon and other fucking propaganda movies from the 1930s and 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010s, and 2020s. It's all old and it's all fucked. And me, I'm a man, yes I am, and I can't help but love you so. Right? Even if your children are the spirit of your grandparents, you still stand up so the spirit of your grandparents can live in a world where we live the Lord's Prayer. You never give up. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. Stop acting like such a fucking bitch. Okay? You never quit and you never give up on living the Lord's Prayer. But you never ask Jesus, I don't want your blood money. All right? Can everybody say Judas? Can you say Barack Insane Obama? Has he earned his Hussein? I don't know if he ever gonna did.